What's up, chat? Today we are doing the two main Augusta highways, GA-232 and I-520, so let's get started. Before we start this journey, I just want to remind you that you have two free requests per video. Here is the map of the two highways. So we start in Appling off US 221, and then we go around all the way into South Carolina by North Augusta and end at I-20. Here we start off at US 221 and Georgia 47, and we are signed for Martinez and Patriots Park. And that's fine because you could use I-20 to get to Augusta. And also, we got this interesting reassurance shield here for US 221 Georgia 47 with a big I-20 shield, so that's cool. But our first mileage sign here for Martinez and Augusta, Patriots Park isn't shown here, so okay. Here we pass by Louisville Road and it'll take you to the lights to the south, and I went here before for Christmas and it was a super fun experience. Here we meet Georgia 388, which will take you to I-20 of course. Here we meet Georgia 383 as we enter the Augusta Metro. Here we enter Martinez and join Georgia 104. Alright, now I have a few personal pictures I want to show you guys. So here's where we split from Georgia 104 here in Augusta. As we meet I-20, which is signed for Columbia and Atlanta, we get an N shield, but it says ends Georgia 232 instead of end Georgia 232, so a little error there, but that's fine. And we also get an East I-520 shield. Here we meet Wrightsboro Road, although this is not a personal picture, I forgot to take a picture of this one. It goes to the Augusta Mall. Here we pass by the Idiot Sandwich Highway, aka US 78, 278, and Georgia 10. As the Gordon Highway, you see what I did there. And they are signed for Eisenhower. I kind of want to see Aiken here, to be honest, or Washington, but you know what, just you do you, G-Dot. Here we meet US 1, Georgia 4, and Georgia 540, and they're signed as Deans Bridge Road, and they're signed for Augusta and Rennes. And we are signed for Columbia, which is definitely the right choice. Here we get a nice view of South Carolina as we approach the US 25 exit. Looking very nice. And here we meet US 25, which is signed as Winter Spring Road and Peach Orchard Road. And we kind of got a mix up here off of US 25, and it's for actually westbound 520, but they're put this in now instead of later. We got two I-520 instead of westbound 520, and then west I-20 instead of 2 I-20, which is a funny little labeling error. Here we meet Georgia 56 is the Mike Paget Highway. Here we meet Georgia 28 as Laney Walker Boulevard and Sandbar Ferry Road. And now we enter South Carolina as the Hall Meadow Parkway. Here we meet US 1 again, along with US 78 and 278, but they're not shown this time for some reason, so that's a big error. And they're signed for Aiken and North Augusta. Here we pass over South Carolina 125. Here we meet Connector Road to US 25 and South Carolina 121, and they're signed for North Augusta and Edgefield. Then we end at I-20. Now let's spin it back. Here we start off at I-20 and get signed for North Augusta and Augusta, and this is really good by a C-Dot because we're actually the faster way to get to Augusta than I-20, so nice job. Here we meet that connector road again, but this time they're just signed for North Augusta. Here we meet South Carolina 126 is Clearwater Road. As we pass by US 1, 78, and 278 again with this messed up sign, we get this beautiful view from I-520. I know it's not much, but it's still pretty good. Prior to entering Georgia here, we get this Georgia 28 sign for Sandbar Ferry Road and Laney Walker Boulevard. Then we cross the Savannah River into Augusta, Richmond County, Georgia, and the welcome sign fell over. Here we meet Georgia 56 is the Mike Paget Highway, and we also meet the exit for Augusta Regional Airport. Here is where we meet with US 5 directly. I also forgot to mention that Georgia 121 is also here, but they don't acknowledge it from I-520. Also, I actually like to mention that we are signed for both Atlanta and Columbia in one direction, so that's actually really good because I-20 is closer that way. And here we meet US 1, Georgia 4, and Georgia 540 is Dean Bridge Road. They're still signed for Augusta and Rennes, and we are signed for Atlanta, which is good. Oh yeah, and did I mention that we're signed as good old Bobby Jones? Yeah, Bobby Jones, the Bobby Jones Expressway. The only place you can see Bobby Jones is the road that's called Bobby Jones. You get the point. And here we end back up at Idiot Sandwich Junction. And then we meet I-20, which is signed for Atlanta and Columbia still. And you can still see where your sign is Bobby Jones. Now I-520 ends and Georgia 232 begins. Here we stop by the Sands Club I took a little pit stop at on a trip. Here at this light we join Georgia 104. As we split from Georgia 104, we have a lot of stuff happening here. So Georgia 104 signed for Evans and Lincolnton. I'm surprised they put a South Carolina town like McCormick or something on there for Georgia 28. And also we get signed for Appling, the Fairgrounds of Columbia County, and Patriots Park. Here we meet Georgia 383 again. Here we get a mileage sign for Grovetown and Appling, and I'm guessing Grovetown is a suburb of Augusta. Here, as we meet Georgia 388, we have another 5-liner basically, and Georgia 388 is signed for Grovetown. The other way is signed for Evans. I think Georgia 88 ends here though, so it's just some random side road going to Evans. And we are signed for Abilene, Patriots Park, and Fairgrounds again. And here's where we pass by the Fairgrounds of Columbia County. I don't really think it was necessary to sign it, but whatever, I guess. And then we get an end shield here at US 221 in Georgia 47. And honestly, instead of Abilene and Clarks Hill, it should be Abilene and McCormick, since McCormick's more major. It's an incorporated community. Clarks Hill is just really a junction of South Carolina 28. I get why they sent Clarks Hill though, because of the lake, but I don't really agree with that. And it's also has a typo on it, so yeah. Harlem is correct though. Anyways, let's end this video. Alright chat, I hope you enjoyed my guide to I-520 and Georgia 232. Fun fact, I-520 was formerly Georgia 232 until it was, of course, built. And I-520 used to end in Augusta, but now it loops to I-20 in South Carolina because South Carolina was slow to build it. Hence its odd number. But anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you liked that little fact I gave you there, and see ya.